There are stories that begin with a howl in the wind, and this is one of them. A cowboy's dog, chasing shadows in a snowstorm, found more than a fading heartbeat in the drifts. He found a woman left for dead, but what neither the cowboy nor the woman knew was that fate had been setting this up for years. If you believe in destiny, in second chances, and in love that refuses to die, even when the cold is cruel, then this story is yours. And before we dive into this emotional journey, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share powerful stories that matter. Now, let's begin. It was the coldest morning of the year in the Wyoming backcountry, the kind of cold that snapped tree limbs and silenced animals. Snow fell like whispers over the landscape, burying everything in white. On a secluded ranch just below Elk Ridge, a man named Colton Hayes stood on his porch, staring out at the blizzard with quiet worry. He wasn't worried about himself. He had firewood stacked, horses fed, food stocked. But his dog, Bandit, a grizzled old shepherd lab mix, had gone missing before dawn. Normally the dog would never wander far, but something had drawn him deep into the storm. Colton whistled into the wind, but no reply came. He waited, then wrapped himself in a heavy coat, grabbed a lantern and rifle, and mounted his horse. The snow was blinding. He rode through it with the slow patience only mountain men understood, because in the high country, panic gets you killed. 2 hours in, he saw movement. A shape. Bandit. The dog was barking wildly and circling something half buried near the creek. Colton dismounted and ran, and what he saw stopped him cold. It was a woman. She was lying curled in the snow, pale as death, lips blue, hair frozen to her cheek. Her coat was torn. One boot missing. No ID. Nothing. Just her. Colton dropped to his knees, pulled off his gloves, and checked her pulse. It was faint, but it was there. He wrapped her in his coat, lifted her onto the horse, and galloped back home. All the way, he kept whispering, "Hang on, darlin'. Whoever you are, don't give up on me now." Back at the cabin, he built a roaring fire, wrapped her in blankets, and carefully warmed her hands. It was hours before her eyes fluttered open. She didn't speak at first, just stared at the ceiling, then at Bandit, then at Colton. "You saved me?" she whispered. He nodded. "You were nearly gone." Her voice was raw. "I don't remember anything. Not my name. Not how I got here." Colton didn't press. He just nodded. "That's all right. You're safe now." Over the next few days, the woman, who Colton started calling Snow until she remembered, began to recover. She had bruises on her ribs, a sprained ankle, and deep emotional trauma, but she was strong. Slowly, flashes came back. A motel. A man yelling. A car chase. Then, nothing. Colton called the sheriff, but with the storm blocking roads, they said it would take days to get help out. Until then, she'd have to stay. Colton was a man of few words, but Snow, she stirred something in him. She asked questions. She laughed at his terrible coffee. She helped feed the horses even on crutches. Every morning, he found himself making breakfast for two, and every night, they sat by the fire longer and longer, talking until one of them dozed off. One night, Snow whispered, "Do you believe people can be promised to each other? Like, meant for something bigger than they can see?" Colton looked into her eyes, quiet for a long time. "I didn't used to, but now, I'm not so sure." When the roads finally cleared, the sheriff came. They found out her real name was Grace Monroe. She had gone missing 2 weeks earlier from a neighboring county. Her fiancé, her abusive ex, actually, had tried to force her into marrying him after she broke it off. When she ran, he chased her. There was an altercation. She'd escaped into the woods. He left her for dead in the snow. Grace broke down as she remembered. "I didn't think anyone would come for me." Colton reached for her hand. Someone did. Grace stayed. She had nowhere else to go, and Colton. He'd built a new world around her without even meaning to. One afternoon, she was helping Colton clean the barn when she found an old shoebox in the rafters. Inside were letters. Faded, dusty, unopened. She pulled one out. The handwriting was hers. Grace blinked. "What?" She opened it and read, Dear Colton, if I ever find you again, I'll tell you everything. About the foster home. About the nights we whispered under the porch steps. About how you promised to marry me when we were 12 and I believed you. If you ever see this, please don't forget me. Love, Grace. Her knees buckled. It all came back. They had known each other as kids, in the same foster home, for 6 months. He'd been her protector, her best friend. He'd given her his toy horse and said, "Someday, I'll find you again. I'll marry you for real." He never forgot. But she had, until now. That night, she handed him the letter with tears in her eyes. "You kept them?" He nodded. "Everyone." And then she asked softly, "Do you still mean it?" Colton reached out and pulled her close, every word. They married under that same sky that once tried to take her life, only now it was clear, warm, and filled with the laughter of friends and neighbors. Bandit stood proud at her side, as if knowing he'd been the beginning of it all. So if you ever doubt that fate has a plan, remember this. A cowboy lost in grief, a dog with a purpose, a woman with no name left for dead, and a love written long ago in childhood letters. This was never just survival. It was destiny. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. We bring you stories that remind us all, love may get lost in the snow, but it always finds its way home.